What's going on, guys? This is Deli, and this is the full story of Absolute Green Lantern from issue 1 through the current issue, issue 15. This version is not about space cops chosen for their willpower. It begins as a horror story in Evergreen, Nevada, after something shaped like a gigantic green lantern falls from the sky. Jo Mullein has returned home after her marriage to Cameron Chase falls apart. Hal Jordan, Stewart, and Guy Gardner are already her friends. Then the sky turns green, the town is sealed beneath a dome, and the thing inside announces that judgment is about to begin. The alien calls himself Abin Sur, but that name is really a title. He is an own judge, operating at the green level of an alien system called the Spectrum of Light. Abin orders Evergreen to be without fear, then begins judging its residents one by one. People appear to vanish when he reaches them. Sheriff Guy Gardner is among the first. Jo and Hal cannot tell whether Abin is saving anyone, killing everyone, or sorting the town according to rules no human understands. That uncertainty is the point. Evergreen has made first contact, and first contact feels like the end of the world. Stewart refuses to panic. He studies the dome like an architect facing an impossible structure and notices a cheap gold-colored earring can pass through the green barrier. The actual metal does not matter. What matters is the idea of gold. John realizes this power behaves like alchemy, turning concepts into physical law. Gold represents understanding, and understanding can pass through green judgment. Abin recognizes what John has discovered and judges him next. To Jo and Hal, it looks like John has been erased. In reality, John has understood enough to be taken deeper into the system. With the town collapsing around them, Jo confronts Abin while Hal prepares a desperate attack. Abin finally explains that most of the people he judged are not dead. They are being held inside the lantern, waiting for further judgment in a place called OA, or Omega Alpha. But Rita, Guy's deputy, really was killed. Abin also warns Jo about the weaponers of Card. As he tries to leave, Jo reaches toward him with the gold wedding ring still on her hand. Gold disrupts his power, and the green flame transfers into Jo. The dome disappears. Then the enormous lantern falls directly onto Evergreen. Hal survives the crash angry, terrified, and convinced Jo is gone. He shoots the weakened Abin Sur with bullets painted gold. As Abin dies, he passes one final judgment. The gun, the black remains of Abin, and Hal's hand fuse together. Hal becomes the Black Hand, a living expression of Card, the power of chaotic action. The curse consumes life around him and begins consuming Hal himself. Jo finds him and tries to pull him back, but his new power wants to devour her green light. Their fight ends when Jo drags both of them into the fallen lantern. Inside, Stewart is alive, and he finally explains the system. Card is black, chaotic action without restraint. Rao is red, restraint from action. Sur is green, correct action. Or is gold, total understanding. John earned, or by understanding how the lantern worked. Guy earned Rao because, during his judgment, he showed mercy. Jo and Hal are different. They are Tomar, anomalies who took powers without understanding the path. Jo uses her green flame to purge most of the Black Hand from Hal, but thousands of Evergreen residents remain trapped inside. And somewhere in space, a Blackstar world called Mogo is coming. The story pulls away from Earth to reveal the enemy. The Blackstars believe chaotic action is not the lowest stage of enlightenment. They believe it is the highest. They conquer worlds under Sin Tro and the Face of Steel. Kilowog leads one attack until a red-powered anomaly called Tomar Re intercepts him. Re does not hesitate. He kills Kilowog and sends the remains back as a message. He has spent his life hunting Blackstars, and his target is Mogo, the living machine world that destroyed his people. Back on Earth, we learn who Jo was before the Green Flame. She grew up in Evergreen, became a police officer, and left after discovering corruption and racism inside the department. In Coast City, she met Cameron Chase. They loved each other, married too quickly, and broke apart under the weight of Cameron's work and Jo's affair with Renee Montoya. After her father's death, Jo came home. Now she arrives at Cameron's door carrying an unconscious Hal and powers neither of them understands. Their broken relationship becomes the only shelter Jo has left. Hector Hammond has taken control of the Evergreen disaster site. To him, the dead town and alien wreckage are an opportunity. He interrogates Todd Rice, the apparent survivor, and learns enough to identify Jo and her weakness to gold. Cameron brings in agents Simon Baz and Carrie Limbo to investigate the cover-up. Hammond answers by sending his assassin, Keith Kenyon. Kenyon murders scientist Stephen Dayton, arms himself with gold weapons, and turns himself into the perfect countermeasure against Joe's green power. Kenyon attacks Joe as Goldface. His bullets shut down her connection to the green flame, leaving her wounded and unable to heal. Joe survives by doing what the Lantern system never expected. She acts like the former cop she was before any cosmic power chose her. She removes the bullets herself, fights through the pain, and kills Goldface before her abilities return. Once the gold is gone, the green flame heals her. The victory also gives Joe, Cameron, Simon, and Carrie a trail leading directly back to Hammond. Joe and the others go on the run while Carrie reads the strange power bound to Joe's ring. She senses Sinestro and something worse behind him, a soulless mechanical intelligence called the Face of Steel. Meanwhile, Hammond turns Todd Rice into a weapon. By exposing Todd to Abin Sur's remains and the Black Hand material, Hammond creates Obsidian, a massive creature of black rock. He controls Obsidian through Dayton's psychic technology and sends him after Joe. The attack kills Carrie and pushes Hal back toward Card. Joe fights Obsidian, but brute force cannot save Todd. Hal finds another answer. If Card means chaotic action, then chaos does not have to mean cruelty. Love can be chaotic too. Hal transforms the black power into a magenta flame and uses it to help free Todd from Hammond's control. That new light is powerful enough to draw attention from across the universe. Tomar Re arrives, takes control of the Lantern from John, and pulls Joe and Hal aboard. Re says Mogo must be stopped, and he has already decided what he is willing to sacrifice. Inside the Lantern, Tomar Re tells Joe his history. His own mother gave him the red power of Rao before Mogo destroyed his world and his people. Since then, Re has crossed the universe killing Blackstars. He sees restraint not as peace, but as the discipline required to do terrible things for a larger goal. His plan is to turn the Lantern into a gun aimed at Mogo. The ammunition is the psychic pain of Evergreen's roughly 2,000 trapped residents. Re forces Joe to steer, because her green power can operate the vessel. The Lantern passes Ran, a world already controlled by the Blackstars. Sinestro orders the planet's overseer, Rakshade, to stop it. Ran sends two Black Hands, Katmatue and Salak. Outside the ship, John and Guy are forced into a space battle against enemies who understand the spectrum better than they do. Inside, Joe fights Tomar Re for control. Re argues that sacrificing Evergreen is the only way to break Mogo's concentration. Joe refuses to accept that thousands of innocent people are ammunition. Issue 15 brings every argument into the same fight. Katmatue attacks John and challenges the weakness of, or, total understanding can make him invulnerable, but it can also leave him standing still while everyone else burns. Guy uses Rao differently, reshaping his own body into a weapon against the Blackstars. Inside the Lantern, Joe outthinks Tomar Re and wins their immediate struggle. But Re's warning is real. There is no time left to invent a safer plan. Mogo has arrived. The Lanterns, the Blackstars, Joe, Hal, John, Guy, and the people of Evergreen are now caught in the same confrontation. And that is where the story stands after issue 15, not resolved, but finally at the point of impact.